Drama alert, Candace Owens versus Ben Shapiro.
Two fascists fight over their fascist perversion of what's actually going on. Like, let's be clear here. Candace Owens has seemingly been in a tiff with Ben Shapiro because Candace Owens has been I guess slightly in the pro-Palestine camp based on what's going on. But we should be clear, she's also not, she's not had a complete turnaround or something. She's still using her sort of Christo-fascist, world view to promote her takes on what's been happening.
Yeah, I mean, we probably should... we got deep into this yesterday. She's basically pissed that she wasn't defended and her Jewish colleagues gave her the side eye during like the Kyrie Irving documentary, Kanye West, Jewish Doctor, and Hitler should keep it in Germany controversies, none of which have to do with the state of Israel, I would emphasize. And so that's why she's changing her position on that, in addition to like what I said about the polling.
Right. Well, I think it does represent... I was going to just say, I think it does represent like an actual schism between this new right, between more of an all-encompassing, like there are Black people, there are Latinos in the Proud Boys, and a more traditional, just like exclusionary form of white supremacy. There are some groups who are trying to make inroads, I think, into like encompassing more of, these sort of like angry white men and other forms of subpopulations that would traditionally be eschewed by ethno-nationalist and racist groups. And people like Candace Owens, ironically, I think is trying to keep bloodline pure. She's trying to keep these groups like, exclusionary to a lot of these other types, because it does allow her to have this, I think, special place in the hearts of white supremacists. She's the only minority allowed in those circles. Right.
Yeah. I mean, pull up the, so basically Candace Owens tweeted out what was this? Blessed are the peacemakers. Yeah, she quoted some sort of...
I love how coy she is, because she keeps, especially on Twitter, she's like, and she's done some segments on this, we've played explicitly, but she'll say like, genocides are bad, and like Dave Rubin's like, oh, you like Hamas now? Proving they're overly jumpy, but Candace is sort of like I didn't say what I was actually talking about, so you actually proved my point, which is funny, but also a little bit cagey.
Right. So she put out this like biblical quote. I believe this was right after a short clip went viral of Ben Shapiro at some party speaking out against Candace Owens.
The day after, yeah.
Yeah. So it was clearly in reference to him, even though she's going to claim that it wasn't. But then Ben Shapiro came out and said, if I bother you working at the Candace, if you feel that taking money from the Daily Wire somehow comes between you and God, by all means, quit. And I got to say, this says a lot, because if Ben Shapiro did not like what Candace Owens was putting out there so much, he would just fire her. But clearly, either he is fine with what's going on here, or he's put himself between a rock and a hard place, and she has some sort of out in her contract, which will cost him a lot of money to fire her. So
that's clearly what it is.
Yeah, I think it's more likely that, but it is possible one of the two. And then Candace Owens replied again, right? Didn't she? She has a reply to Shapiro as well. No, one that's even worse than that, actually. That's it. Yeah. You are utterly out of line for suggesting that I cannot quote biblical scripture, which is not what Ben Shapiro said. The Bible is not about you. And that one is
right. I mean, now we're getting right into what you're saying about something. Yeah. Yeah. And then scroll down. I think she hits him with another reply. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah,
Christ is
zoom
king.
Up a little bit more, Bradley. Yeah, there we go. Yeah,
Christ is king.
Yeah, so not like it's not hitting him with like here's like the education I'm getting about the like the Nakba, or the like occupied territories and the conditions under that, or the treatment of people under Gaza. It's this Jewish guy is suppressing me, the Christian.
Right, she's making it about herself, just like Shapiro is making it about himself. It's his personal beef with Candace Owens, who works for his company. How could she do this? And then it's also Candace Owens' personal beef with Ben Shapiro for calling her out for her sort of coded wording and usage of a biblical text.
But I also think it's interesting, Matt, if you want to just put this one back up for a quick second, where the reply, where she says, "You have been acting unprofessional and emotionally unhinged for weeks now, and we have all had to sit back and allow it, and have all tried to exercise exceeding understanding for your raw emotion. But you cross a certain line when you come for scripture and read yourself into it. I will not tolerate it." It's also funny that it's like, she's also sort of being like, you've been taking this whole Israel thing a little bit like too far. Like, you've been a little too sensitive about like what's been going on in the region, and I've been really, really trying to be cool about it. And now you're coming for me.
It's facts don't care about your feelings.
Yeah, right.
Facts don't care about your feelings in him.
I mean, again, though, I think another thing to point out here is right here you have two of the most influential political commentator figures. I don't even think it would be fair just to say on the right. These two are absolutely huge, especially Ben Shapiro in the podcast space. He's not like one of the top podcasters on the right. His show is frequently one of the top political podcasts, period. And so here you have two of the biggest political commentators who are right-wing, basically going back and forth fighting each other with anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. One side is using anti-Semitism, another side is using Islamophobia. And it's like the world is completely silent on this, and everyone would rather take chants from college kids and Jewish activist groups out of context instead of focusing on these two hugely influential figures, just like Elon Musk, with an audience in the millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions. And here they are just openly having this battle of this fascism versus fascism battle. And everyone's just like quiet about it. I don't see any media coverage. I don't see any news headlines, CNN, New York Times, Washington Post. What's going on here? Like, it's just ludicrous.
Yeah. Well, we know why. It's because all of the media and our government is, when they say they're concerned with anti-Semitism, what they're actually concerned with is anti-Zionism. And they're not actually and to the extent, like, that's really why they get animated about it. It's a posture.
If any of the people and again, I'm not saying necessarily fully that like a guy like Chuck Schumer or a guy like Hakeem Jeffries doesn't care at all about anti-Semitism, but I will go far enough to say that if John Hagee is at your Israel or broadly your march or your protest against anti-Semitism or your stand with Israel rally that is ostensibly also about combating anti-Semitism.
He's good on Zionism.
And that's
why he's there.
The prioritization is very clearly that if John Hagee is speaking there, the priority is Zionism. It's not combating anti-Semitism.
Exactly.
Well, I think they've been clear about that, especially when you watch all the videos of like cops beating up Jewish students or like the IDF like pushing down Orthodox Jewish people in Israel.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Although I will say, I think from Candace's point of view, this is just like a power play. I think she's tired of playing second fiddle to all of the men. Like first she came for Crowder. Now she's been nipping at, at least like snipping at Ben Shapiro for a while now. I think, she's trying to usurp the throne.
Oh yeah, I think she thinks that she's bigger than them now, which might be the case, honestly. And also, she is way more appealing to the new generation of young fascists than the Shapiros and Rubins and the Matt Walshes of the world.
Bro,
like
you
the
look
Daily
at their
Wire.
comments.
All the Daily Wire has that's keeping that cohort, those young Republicans who are like the Groyper Pepe guys. The only thing keeping them there is like the rampant transphobia from like the Matt Walsh types. Like otherwise, they don't agree with like the vast majority of how Shapiro covers things. They see this as like old and lame and sort of like the old neocon way. They are much more into the edgelord, anti-Jewish, anti-Semitic, anti-all immigrants, flat out, that they're not getting enough of from the Daily Wire. That's way more in like the Candace Owens camp.
And I also feel like
she flaunts her Christian fascism in a way that obviously Ben Shapiro, who's Jewish, can't. So that gives her another notch in their book.
Yeah, and look at the go ahead, Bradley.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that like I also think it's kind of. I think there's also a real distinct chance that her being like a conservative black woman who is willing to go to these edges and willing to go this far. I think the idea with that is that she appeals not just politically, but also, as you said, Binder, like religiously, but also like culturally to people, because she's also very willing and sort of like literate enough to talk about like pop culture issues in a way that I think like it's probably has more staying power than like Ben Shapiro talking about the lyrics to WAP by like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Like she can actually she'll insert that into a pop culture debate that is like way more, I think, convincing than it is for Shapiro to do it. And I think honestly, I'm sure part of her social media presence, because I think this is like was mentioned in a New Yorker article, New Yorker profile of her. She's also very much like, when she's not doing this, she's also like, oh, I'm a mom, like haha, like classic mom problems, like anyone like know where to get baby formula. It's like it's this tightrope of being like an approachable, like pretty Christian woman while also using that veneer to like carry out some of the most like hateful stuff imaginable through so many different lenses.
Right. It's a great point. I mean, she's the one who has a picture hanging out with Kanye, right? I mean, and they were loving that, right? They were loving that. She knows how to play the cultural, instead of attacking the culture like Ben Shapiro does, she tries to, weaponize it, and she tries to co-opt it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she got a taste with the Kanye connection that why would you go the Ben Shapiro route after that, right? Like, you get to hang out with Kanye West. Right. Instead, you got a guy like Ben Shapiro's like basketball. And he's only interested in basketball if like there's like a trans person like trying to play it.
Right. Larry Bird was the best basketball player. No one else. Right.
Oh, yeah. What is he? Wait, he was a Celtics fan born in Los Angeles. Like,
literally.
Okay, man.
LA born and bred.
Right, let's not read anything into that.
And became a fucking Celtics fan.
But you look at the comment sections to these things, and Candace has absolutely won. It is not even close, and it is all very unseemly stuff. I mean, occasionally you'll get to think of like, yeah, why can't we support war in like this, or why can't we oppose war in the traditional sort of libertarian way? But then you'll also see like, Candace, good job not selling out to Ben Shapiro and Dennis Prager. And it's like, oh, I think we know what that means.